Doodlebud. Now, in the world of fountain pens, no doubt the pen gets the majority of the attention. I mean, just look at some of these. Look at those beautiful patterns and swirls, and we have gorgeous gold nibs and shiny bits over here. But a pen is completely useless unless you put some nice ink into it, and there's tons of options there. But again, we got to put pen and ink to page, and paper is just kind of boring. But you'll soon find out once you get into fountain pens, paper matters a whole lot. And all of these expensive pens and gorgeous colors just go to waste, get flushed down the toilet, unless you're putting it on some nice paper. What I'm going to do is show you what my absolute favorite book and paper refill is in this video. There's lots of options out here. Many are great, many are better. But for one reason or another, I keep coming back to this one. When you get into fountain pens, you hear about Rhodia paper, especially the dot pad. For whatever reason now, you're going to write in books that are only dots instead of lines, because that's what you're supposed to do when you have a fountain pen. Nonetheless, it is a really, really good paper. You will see all your feathering and flow issues kind of go away when you start using Rhodia paper over the cheap stuff that you were accustomed to when you were in the ballpoint world. Clairefontaine, this is also lovely stuff. I really, really like it. It's fairly reasonably priced. This one here at the Vancouver Pen Shop was only $8.50. Lots of pages. I like the size. The Rhodia here, this is the large size as well. This was at $7.98. That was at the Papery in Victoria, BC. 80 GSM, 96 pages. Nothing wrong with this stuff whatsoever, but for some reason, one way or another, I just don't enjoy writing on it as much. Now, Josh Lax did a video where he ground a nib for me, and as he was testing it, he said something to the effect, I can go back to the video maybe, but I think he says, Rhodia shows all problems, or something like hides no secrets, meaning if there's a problem with your pen, specifically the nib, it's going to get pulled up on Rhodia. It will reveal any issue you have. If you can get that nib and pen to write flawlessly in Rhodia, you've dialed it in perfectly. Now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know I like my Muji paper. And if you're new to the channel, I like Muji paper. There's just something about it, especially this is the book. This one they have, it's their little craft cover. You buy this separately. I think it's $3.90. You can get a polypropylene version, or like these craft paper ones, this beige color, and then a darker green. Usually the color options at Muji are beige, taupe, tan, sand, and sometimes cream. But this has to be the coolest part. How you load the book. They got the instructions in the front, but you just set it flat on your table like this. You grab one corner here, and you just pull, and the whole thing opens. And then you just put in your inserts. So these come in a pack. I'll show you the information. If you check in the description below, I'll have links and all that stuff. But it's usually a 30 pack. You can have this cool little dot pads. So I know we're used to dot pad with Rhodia. They have that too. But they also have this tiny little grid. This is a 2mm grid that they have. And this paper performs really well. I did some writing samples to prepare, hence all the ink on my fingers. But I'll show you, it handles most stuff. There are limits. It reaches those limits faster than Rhodia does. Rhodia and Clairefontaine is a superior paper. But I love the portability of these. I love just the sort of rigidness of the craft paper. It feels nice. I do like the feel of this paper with a pen over Rhodia. And writing with a fountain pen is all about feel, so I do prefer this. Just there's something, I don't know if it's softer or warmer, just something about it. It feels nicer when you write with these. And you can reload it. I think this is just great. You can pick up the cover and you can use this for years and just take out sheets that you want to save. You can refill it. There's just something to me that I really enjoy about that. These are the leftover little plastic sleeves they come in. This is the problem at Muji. There's no real proper data points, at least the English translation. Maybe if you could read all the characters, if you knew Japanese, you could get a little more insight into what the differences between papers are, because they have a few different ones that say loose leaf refill. That's meant for this book. It's the A5 size, 20 holes, 30 sheets in each. There's another one, they call it loose leaf as well, but it's very different. It is not as good whatsoever, and it looks similar. It's the lined one. But these two, the dot grid and the 2mm grid, these are just fantastic papers. This is only supposed to hold 40 sheets, they say. I put 2 packs in, so it holds 60 no problem without overloading the book. It still functions no problem. And this to me is just, it's the perfect size. It's handy. It's not too big. You can clip your pen on here as well. Fits in a small bag. When you're portable. If you're traveling, you can write on your lap. The cover's stiff enough to help you do that. And then it just lies flat on the desk. You can fold it over, do this, flip it over, whatever you want to do. That's why I really, really, really enjoy these Muji books. So these are the 5 pens I used. And these are the 5 writing samples. You're going to probably ask me every ink that's in every pen. The answer is I'm not 100% sure. But here we have a close-up. Now here we're starting to get a little bit thicker. This is a 1.1 stub. There's really no feathering on these. You do push the limit. This is the Pilot 912 FA that has the triple slit ebonite feed that Josh Laxry did for me. It still works on this paper. That's by far the wettest pen I have. It lays down mega ink. It does show through. So you sort of get to the point now. Well, actually, that is bleed through. It's not going onto the backside. But yeah, it is starting to go through. So if you're really into like heavy flex, laying down tons of ink, this sort of maxes out around there now. You're better off with like a Rhodia or Clairefontaine. But for most of your other stuff that you're doing, it works great. I write double-sided. You can see we got no problems there whatsoever. It works really, really well. And one thing I find, this happens also with regalia paper. I think it increases the line width just a hair, not a nib width size. It's not going to go from an extra fine to a fine, but maybe just, I don't know, 10%, 15% wider. But as a result, it sort of gets rid of little jaggedness in your lines. It seems to smooth out your lines. So it's probably just a touch more absorbent. And it also feels better, I find, when you're writing with it. So you're getting rewarded with a nice feel. The writing, I find, looks a little bit smoother, which I need help with. So this paper kind of makes my writing look a little bit nicer. You can buy refills for. You can, whatever. If you're artistic, you can put artwork on your cover and make it your own. But I like the whole thing. You're not throwing away the whole pad. You can keep things. You can take sheets out. You can organize it. You can change the type of paper you have in there. It's quite nice. Now, on a cost perspective, so this would be the equivalent in Rhodia, the same type of size. This one, what do we got here? We got 80 sheets. And it's $8. So if I'd have to get 3 packs, these packs of paper go for $1.90, 30 sheets, pretty good. But I'd have to buy 3 packs with 90 sheets plus the cover. Now we're 9 something. So again, we're talking within $1 or so. So the actual setup cost it costs more to get the same, and this paper can outperform the Muji. So you might think, well, why would you go for something else? I think I've explained why. I just like the feel, and this whole notebook setup just really fits well with me. Another book you may find from the gorgeous tan taupe beige lineup that they carry is this stuff here that says planting tree paper. I think I found one planting tree paper that was good, but the rest of them, they don't seem so good. If you're using like extra fine and fine tip pens, it's works no problem with that. And writing quick notes and all that stuff, these are more cost efficient or whatever you want to say, but they do start to run into issues. I think the stub is at the absolute limit, but then when we start getting to something like that Pilot 912, you can see tons of feathering going through, and it ends up bleeding through into the next page as well. So this is still good stuff, but you can see it's just not, we're getting a little bit of feathering much sooner as well. So for pens that aren't mega wet or smaller tips, these work well, but I would rather just get a paper that is superior. It's not too much more, and you got this cool little little book. Another thing I like about this Muji paper is just the overall color and the action it does with the ink. So here, this is, I believe it's Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. And you can get some nice shading in it. It really looks quite good on this Muji paper. If you want to step shading up a notch, I would recommend the Regalia paper. It really does it. As far as sheen, this is Robert Oster Fire and Ice. It's a low sheen ink. I find you really have to get the right pen with the amount of ink flow to really make it show off. It doesn't show up too much sheen, but this is just my Lamy 2000. It has an extra fine nib. I did grind it myself to a cursive italic, but that's a pretty small point size we're writing with, and you can see some sheen coming off of that. Which ink is it? I can't remember. I really have no idea. But to get some sheen off of an extra fine nib point size, you got to have paper that can pull that off. Anyways, there's my favorite. This is my favorite notebook. I even just recently bought the same one again, just because I don't know, I just wanted another one. Exact same thing. I bought it the same color. Or maybe this is the taupe and this is the tan. I can't remember. I can't get enough of these things. Affordable, easy to use, refillable. I'm repeating myself, but there you go. So like I said, I'll have links down there in the description. Pricing can be very different along with availability in your area, your region. So yeah, these, I've heard some people say in Europe, these are very expensive and Rhodia is super, super cheap. So I don't know, maybe these are outrageously expensive where you are, but this is my pick. If you'd like to learn more, click down there while you're clicking. There's a clicker over here and a clicker over there. You might as well hit those. Catch you next time.